Hey guys, Sam from Manfa Speaks. Happy Saturday. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Thank you for coming by once again. And hello if you are new. It is great to have you. So, as you know, on a Saturday and a Sunday, I read to you. We are currently reading our way through this Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. There are other stories in this playlist, so if you have missed some and would like to hear them, please do go back and check them out. And let's get started with today's. So we are on story number 7, and it is called The Good Bargain. There was once a peasant who had driven his cow to the fair and sold her for 7 thalers. On the way home he had to pass a pond, and already from afar he heard the frogs crying, "Ike, Ike, Ike, Ike." "Well," said he to himself, "they are talking without rhyme or reason. It is 7 that I have received, not 8. When he got to the water he cried to them, "Stupid animals that you are, don't you know better than that? It is 7 thalers and not 8. The frogs, however, stood to their "Ike, Ike, Ike, Ike." "Come then, if you won't believe me, I can count it out to you." And he took his money out of his pocket and counted out the 7 thalers, always reckoning 24 groschen to a thaler. The frogs, however, paid no attention to his reckoning, but still cried, "Ache, ache, ache, ache." "What?" cried the peasant, quite angry. "Since you are determined to know better than I, count it yourselves," and threw all the money into the water to them. He stood still and wanted to wait until they were done and had brought him his own again, but the frogs maintained their opinion and cried continually, "Ache, ache, ache, ache," and besides that did not throw the money out again. He still waited a long while until evening came and he was forced to go home. Then he abused the frogs and cried, "You water splashers, you thick heads, you goggle eyes, you have great mouths and can screech till you hurt one's ears, but you cannot count 7 thalers. Do you think I'm going to stand here till you get done?" And with that he went away, but the frogs still cried, "Ache, ache, ache, ache," after him till he went home quite angry. After a while he bought another cow, which he killed, and he made the calculation that if he sold the meat well he might gain as much as the 2 cows were worth, and still have the hide in the bargain. When he got to the town with the meat, a great troop of dogs were gathered together in front of the gate, with a large greyhound at the head of them, which jumped at the meat, snuffed at it, and barked, "Wow, wow, wow." As there was no stopping him, the peasant said to him, "Yes, yes, I know quite well that you are saying 'wow, wow, wow,' because you want some of the meat, but I should fare badly if I were to give it to you." The dog, however, answered nothing but "wow, wow." "Will you promise not to devour it all then, and will you vouch for your companions?" "Wow, wow, wow," said the dog. "Well, if you insist on it, I will leave it for you. I know you well and know who your master is, but this I tell you, I must have my money in 3 days, or else it will go badly for you. You must bring it out to me." With that he unloaded the meat and turned back. The dogs fell upon it and loudly barked, "Wow, wow." The countryman, who had heard them from afar, said to himself, "Now they all want some, but the big one is responsible to me for it." When 3 days had passed, the countryman thought, "Tonight my money will be in my pocket," and was quite delighted. But no one would come and pay it. "There is no trusting anyone now," said he, and at last he lost patience and went into the town to the butcher and demanded his money. The butcher thought it was a joke, but the peasant said, "Jesting apart, I will have my money. Did not the great dog bring you the meat of the slaughtered cow 3 days ago?" Then the butcher grew angry, snatched a broomstick and drove him out. "Wait a while," said the peasant, "there is still some justice in the world," and went to the royal palace and begged for an audience. He was led before the king, who sat there with his daughter, and asked him what injury he had suffered. "Alas," said he, "the frogs and the dogs have taken from me what is mine, and the butcher has paid me for it with the stick." And he related at full length all that had happened. At this the king's daughter began to laugh heartily, and the king said to him, "I cannot give you justice in this, but you shall have my daughter to wed for it. In her whole life she has never yet laughed as she has just done at you, and I have promised her to the man who could make her laugh. You may thank God for your good fortune." "Oh," answered the peasant, I will not have her. I have a wife already, and she is one too many for me. When I go home, it is just as bad as if I had a wife standing in every corner." Then the king grew angry and said, "You are a boor." "Ah, Lord King," replied the peasant, "what can you expect from a pig but pork?" "Stop," answered the king. "You shall have another reward. Be off now, but come back in 3 days, and then you shall have 500 counted out in full." When the peasant went out by the gate, the sentry said, "You have made the king's daughter laugh, so you will certainly receive something good." "Yes, that is what I think," answered the peasant. 500 are to be counted out to me." "Listen," said the soldier, "give me some of it. What can you do with all that money?" "Because it is you," said the peasant, "you shall have 200. Present yourself in 3 days' time before the king, and let it be paid to you." A Jew, who was standing by and had heard the conversation, ran after the peasant, held him by the coat, and said, "Oh, wonder, what a lucky man you are! I will change it for you. I will change it for you into small coins. What would you do with the great tailors?" "Jew," said the countryman, 300 you can have. Give it to me at once in coin. In 3 days from this you will be paid for it by the king." The Jew was delighted with the profit, and brought the sum in bad groschen, 3 of which were worth 2 good ones. After 3 days had passed according to the king's command, the peasant went before the king. "Pull his coat off," said the latter, "and he shall have his 500. "Ah," said the peasant, "they no longer belong to me. I presented 200 of them to the sentinel, and 300 the Jew has changed for me, so by right nothing at all belongs to me." In the meantime the soldier and the Jew entered and demanded what they were owed by the peasant, and this conduct angered the king. They received the blows strictly counted out. The soldier bore it patiently, and knew already how it felt, but the Jew said sorrowfully, "Alas, alas, are these the hard tailors?" The king could not help laughing at the peasant, and once all his anger was gone, he said, "As you have already lost your reward before it came to you, I will give you something in the place of it. Go into my treasure chamber and get some money for yourself, as much as you will." The peasant did not need to be told twice, and stuffed into his big pockets whatever would go in. Afterwards he went to an inn and counted out his money. The Jew had crept after him, and heard how he muttered to himself, "That rogue of a king has cheated me after all. Why could he not have given me the money himself, and then I should have known what I had? How can I tell now if what I have had the luck to put in my pockets is right or not?" "Good heavens," said the Jew to himself, "that man is speaking disrespectfully of our lord the king. I will run and inform, and then I shall get a reward, and he will be punished as well." When the king heard of the peasant's words, he fell into a passion, and commanded the Jew to go and bring the offender to him. The Jew ran to the peasant. "You are to go at once to the Lord King in the very clothes you have on." "I know what's right better than that," answered the peasant. "I shall have a new coat made first. Do you think that a man with so much money in his pocket is to go there in his ragged old coat?" The Jew, as he saw that the peasant would not stir without another coat, and as he feared that if the king's anger cooled, he himself would lose his reward, and the peasant his punishment, said, "I will out of pure friendship lend you a coat for the short time. What will people not do for love?" The peasant was contented with this, put the Jew's coat on, and went off with him. The king reproached the countryman because of the evil speaking of which the Jew had informed him. "Ah," said the peasant, "what a Jew says is always false. No true word ever comes out of his mouth. That rascal there is capable of maintaining that I have his coat on." "What is that?" shrieked the Jew. "Is the coat not mine? Have I not lent it to you out of pure friendship, in order that you might appear before the Lord King?" When the king heard that, he said, "The Jew has assuredly deceived one or the other of us, either myself or the peasant," and again he ordered something to be counted out to him in hard tailors. The peasant, however, went home in the good coat with the good money in his pocket, and said to himself, "This time I have hit it." Don't know how I feel about that story, to be fair. Definitely not a favourite, and I definitely don't like the themes of not liking Jews. I don't support that. I would just like to make that clear. Okay, story 8, The Wonderful Musician. There was once a wonderful musician who went quite alone through a forest and thought of all manner of things, and when nothing was left for him to think about, he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch a good companion for myself." Then he took his fiddle from his back and played so that it echoed through the trees. It was not long before a wolf came trotting through the thicket towards him. "Ah, here is a wolf coming. I have no desire for him," said the musician. But the wolf came nearer and said to him, "Ah, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too." "It is soon learned," the musician replied, "only you have to do all that I bid you." "Oh, musician," said the wolf, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." The musician had him follow, and when they had gone part of the way together, they came to an old oak tree which was hollow inside and cleft in the middle. "Look," said the musician, "if you will learn to fiddle, put your forepaws into this crevice." The wolf obeyed, but the musician quickly picked up a stone and with one blow wedged his 2 paws so fast that he was forced to stay there like a prisoner. "Stay there until I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. After a while he again said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion," and took his fiddle and again played in the forest. It was not long before a fox came creeping through the trees towards him. "Ah, there's a fox coming," said the musician. "I have no desire for him." The fox came up to him and said, "Oh, dear musician, how beautifully you do play. I should like to learn that too." "That is soon learned," said the musician. "You have only to do everything that I bid you." "Oh, musician, then," said the fox, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." "Follow me," said the musician, and when they had walked part of the way, they came to a footpath with high bushes on both sides of it. There the musician stood still, and from one side bent a young hazel bush down to the ground and put his foot on the top of it. Then he bent down a young tree from the other side as well, and said, "Now, little fox, if you will learn something, give me your left front paw." The fox obeyed, and the musician fastened his paw to the left bough. "Little fox," said he, "now reach me your right paw," and he tied it to the right bough. When he had examined whether they were firm enough, he let go, and the bushes sprang up again and jerked up the little fox so that it hung struggling in the air. "Wait there till I come back again," said the musician, and went his way. Again he said to himself, "Time is beginning to pass heavily with me here in the forest. I will fetch another companion." So he took his fiddle, and the sound echoed through the forest. Then a little hare came springing towards him. "Why, a hare is coming," said the musician. "I do not want him." "Oh, dear musician," said the hare, "how beautifully you do fiddle. I too should like to learn that." "That is soon learned," said the musician. "You have only to do everything that I bid you." "Oh, musician," replied the little hare, "I will obey you as a scholar obeys his master." They went a part of the way together until they came to an open space in the forest where stood an aspen tree. The musician tied a long string around the little hare's neck, the other end of which he fastened to the tree. "Now briskly, little hare, run 20 times around the tree," cried the musician, and the little hare obeyed, and when it had run round 20 times it had twisted the string 20 times around the trunk of the tree, and the little hare was caught, and let it pull and tug as it liked, it only made the string cut into its tender neck. "Wait there till I come back," said the musician, and went onwards. The wolf in the meantime had pushed and pulled and bitten at the stone, and had worked so long that he had set his feet free and had drawn them once more out of the cleft. Full of anger and rage he hurried after the musician and wanted to tear him to pieces. When the fox saw him running, he began to lament and cried with all his might, "Brother wolf, come to my help, the musician has betrayed me." The wolf drew down the little tree, bit the cord in two, and freed the fox, who went with him to take revenge on the musician. They found the tied-up hare, whom likewise they released, and then they all sought the enemy together. The musician had once more played his fiddle as he went on his way, and this time he had been more fortunate. The sound reached the ears of a poor woodcutter, who instantly, without a thought, gave up his work and came with his hatchet under his arm to listen to the music. "At last comes the right companion," said the musician, "for I was seeking a human being and no wild beast." And he began and played so beautifully and delightfully that the poor man stood there as if bewitched, and his heart leaped with gladness. And as he thus stood, the wolf, the fox, and the hare came up, and he saw well that they had some evil design. So he raised his glittering axe and placed himself before the musician, as if to say, "Whoever wishes to touch him, let him beware, for he will have to deal with me." Then the beasts were terrified and ran back into the forest. The musician, however, played once more to the man out of gratitude, and then went onwards. That was another interesting one. I'm not sure I quite understand the message behind that one. Okay, so those are our 2 stories for today. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I hope that you all have a wonderful Saturday, whatever it is that you may be doing. Please, again, feel free to put down in the comments what you are up to, what you are working on, where you are going, who you may be seeing. I really do like to hear about your guys' life and what you're up to. Um, I'm not 100% sure what we will be doing this weekend yet. It is probably one of those play it by ear weekends. But sometimes those are the best. Sometimes the ones without a plan turn out to be the better weekends. So I will let you know when the weekend has passed. Please do remember to tune in again tomorrow for another couple of tales out of this book. And then be prepared for another week of madness over here at Manfa's Makes. There are a few videos that I have already filmed, and I would like to think that you will enjoy what content I have. You seem to, you keep coming back, and that is absolutely fabulous. I could never wish for anything more. Just you spending some of your time over here with me, and maybe a like or a comment. That is all I could ever wish for, and you guys deliver time after time, so thank you so very much. Okay, I will leave you to get back to your weekend. Thank you so much for coming over. I will see you tomorrow in the next one with the next 2 stories, and I will see you around the YouTube streets. Remember to stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time in with your loved ones, and get some good quality crafting time. And I will see you very, very soon. Love you guys. Bye.